That's with the relighting on. Okay. Chilling, chilling, man. We're getting through another day, man. We're getting through it. Yeah, we gotta keep going, keep going, keep going, keep doing it, keep doing it, keep pushing, and keep moving. You know, and keep moving, and we gotta keep pushing, and keep doing, and doing, and doing. And before you know it, we'll go through another moon cycle. Hopefully, you made a check. You know what I mean? I don't know how to, however else you want to do it. Um, my uncle used to be my aunt. Repeat, my uncle used to be my aunt. So that's the title of today's show. Thank you for tuning in. Anyway, I want to get right into it. Pretty much, yeah, my uncle used to be my aunt. Um, it doesn't really affect me personally. You know what I mean? It's not really something that drags up my life day to day. It's more or less, it's a personal choice that they themselves made, and I'm all for it. You know what I mean? If that's who they want to be, then if you feel like you're going to be happier that way, then by all means. I don't know, but goddamn, man, this Mountain Dew's pretty good. Yeah, just try to take it easy, save money, do the thing, get through. Don't fall on the other side of the goddamn pavement. Don't you gotta pull yourself back up off the ground if you do that shit. That's all we can do. You know, in the words of the late and great, I don't know. Yeah. How you doing, James? Hell yeah, man. Welcome, welcome. Pretty much, yeah. I tried to go live, went the other direction. So you can hold your phone this way, and I don't know. For some reason, there's just nothing. You know what I mean? I would rather have live be this way, formatted this way, but you just can't get people. Hey, how you doing, Fabio? How you doing, Isabella Lopez? How you doing? Currently car camping. Been car camping since September, pretty much. Just trying to duck on the police. I'm currently on a road. There's no houses built on this road, and I'm parked like right off the easement off of the side of the road. Yeah, I know. It sucks. I'm trying to do what I can, so hopefully this is the last time. Because I've been homeless, about two or three different times throughout my life so far. And this last time, every time it's basically I you know, leaving the parents' house, doing that thing, trying to build a way for yourself in the world, and you can't really do it on one income. So you got to find like a partner somehow or another. You know what I mean? One way or another, the relationships I find myself in, they always end up turning sour on me. It takes time sometimes. Like this last time, the last relationship, it was, like a 9 or 10 year thing. The two of us were building a house together, doing our thing. And then I lost my job. I was working at Amazon. It was good money. It wasn't the best, but for that area and for my education level, I was making over $20 an hour, and then lost the job at Amazon just because the atmosphere changed. I was putting too much of myself into the work. I was trying to become a manager. Because I figured that'd be a nice spot for myself in the world. Be like an area manager at an Amazon facility. But I don't know. I'm too old, I guess, and I don't have the right education. One thing or another. They pretty much were looking for people with a master's degree to be area managers. Which I think I'm like, to me, if I would went to school to get a master's degree, I would not be thinking Amazon, or just management position in a warehouse for Amazon. If I was working for Amazon, I would you know what I mean. You'd be thinking above the warehousing completely, and you had a master's degree. It was just funny to me. That's like that was their preferred candidate at least. But the AI that was doing the hiring or the promoting or the interviews or whatever, it preferred the younger candidate pretty much like it does anywhere, which makes sense because the younger candidate you can work longer. You know what I mean? Versus the guy. I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, that it fell out with that. Couldn't do the Amazon shit anymore, and was about a month, maybe 6 weeks in between jobs. Finally found work at an auto parts store, but I don't know cars too well. You know what I mean? So starting out at the bottom, it's mainly a retail position. Um, Sales and performance based, and then since I don't have knowledge, it took me a while to get any kind of hours out of them. So I had to struggle for months basically waiting to get hours. Um, Finally get to the point where I got some hours, and then I don't know, shit just went sideways right at that same time, like right as I was just about got my schedule locked in the way I wanted it to be. Was getting a decent chunk of hours out of that way, and then still having some decent time off in the week. You know, but the money difference, there was a big money difference in pay from where I was at Amazon, like $21 an hour, and then where I'm at now at 15. So it was tough and everything, just dealing with all that, dropping, losing like 33 or 40% of the money you were making. Um, and yeah, just the relationship went sour, and pretty much I'd come back down to Florida. I was homesick really the whole time too. I didn't like being in the state of Ohio. It wasn't doing no good for me to be there, and it just would depress me more and more watching like how slow shit moves there. You know what I mean? Because the people that live in Ohio, they don't really want to see things change. So everything that does happen, everything, all the progressive movement in Ohio, it's all slower because people don't want to see things change there too much. How you doing, Arena? But yeah, it's been a struggle. I've been living in the car, like I said, since September. Do have a job, do work. You know what I mean? Um, was able to keep the job at least. When she threw me out, I was able to talk to the GM. He got me a transfer. But pretty much when I switched stores, I was starting all over. You know, so I had to like get a new GM to learn me. Get tell I really wish I could just do this way, just do this way, but whatever. I gotta do it this way. Anyway, but yeah, you gotta basically switch stores. Had to learn a whole new manager. Let him know that I'm more of like a second shift person. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I wasn't getting any hours out of that still. So I picked up Ubering, started doing Uber driving. Um, and then right about the time that I started figuring out what I was doing with the Uber driving, the the work started wanting to work me more. We were getting thin, short staff here and there. We were like down. We're still kind of down like 3 people at my store, but yeah, so I don't know. He started to put me on the schedule. I'm still getting like no hours, but he's got me on the schedule for fucking 6 days in a week. Granted that it was only one week, but I wasn't gonna have it become like a regular thing, and I didn't want my following week, I don't know, dude. Just doing all that, running around back and forth, resetting yourself to show back up again, be dressed up, ready to deal with customers again, and then do that 6 times in a week, and then not even actually make any actual time off of it where you're making money to do that. You know what I mean? I don't understand why they won't, like, because I'm trying to just get like 3 10s, just do 3 10s, make 30 hours, and then peace out, right? But I'm still trying to fight to get to that point. I finally got them to where I'm Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays, which, you know, it leaves me open to do the Uber driving through the middle of the week. Um, but at the same time, you know, the better days to be Uber driving would be the Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I'm kind of like shitting in one hand to piss in another. You know what I mean? But what can I do? But you know, the time that I do go there, it's at least a couple 100 miles that I don't have to worry about my car getting beat up, this and that, the other. But yeah, because yeah, I don't know. But I pretty much got that job worked out to the point now where it's like another gig. It's like another gig job. And I kind of got that philosophy from my ex's dad, where he was a musician in a band, not like a band, you know, not like anybody you've heard of, not like he's Maroon Five or you know, but he had like a band that they'd go to little biker bars and do little gigs, you know, show up and just be live performance, live music. Um, but yeah, he liked doing the gig work with the band. It was something that he loved doing. He liked getting on stage and playing guitar, doing his thing. Um, you know, and they'd split the money between the four members of the band. And he basically you'd make $100 to show up and play on Friday night, and $100 to show up on Saturday night. You know what I mean? So I pretty much got the job bent that way, where I'm trying to be Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays. You know, but anyway, I don't know. But yeah, finally put me on that Friday, Saturday, Sunday schedule. So I'm on like my second week of that actually being finalized after taking months for, you know, that was the one thing that was pissing me off was I put in schedule requests and, you know, he would just ignore them. You know, 2 weeks could go by, you know, because you have to kind of wait. You know, you can't just, you know, you put in a schedule request and then you have to like wait a month for it to actually start to kick in. You know what I mean? It took like fucking 4 months for me to finally get the schedule, you know, I don't know. But anyway, yeah, like I said, now I'm open to do the Uber driving and then basically like the job. I've got it set up like it's the gig. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It's a lot more freedom. And like I said, I'm living in the car anyway, so I don't have a whole lot of bills monthly. You know, not a lot of monthly bills from living in the car. So I don't need to make, you know, I don't have to worry about making 1,500 a month or $2,000 a month to cover my $900 a month rent. You know what I mean? And that's part of the guy. I don't know if the guy quite understands that. You know, he probably does now. You know, granted, because it's been weeks. Hang on, sorry about the beeping. But you know, that was the hardest thing with this new job was that as soon as I got one manager to learn who I was, they went ahead and switched managers. You know, so I had to get a whole nother dude. You know, and then I don't know the new dude. He's because the old GM man, he would run the store like it was his kid. Not necessarily, you know what I mean. He wasn't that beast. You know, I didn't see him enough to know. You know what I mean. But this other GM man, it's like he's just showing up and collecting the pay. You know what I mean? He's really hands off. He delegates everything. You know, he deals with the phones and oh, we got to have a group meeting with the managers. You know, this that the other. You know, the paperwork side of some of it. You know what I mean? But I don't know. The old GM, I don't know. It's easier to work. You can work harder for someone that you see is working hard themselves. You know what I mean? You got a boss that's busting ass. You want to bust ass to help make their job easier. You know, not all of us, but I don't know. But yeah, when you got a boss that's kind of just slack assing, you know what I mean, and the store's kind of falling apart underneath him. You know what I mean? I hope one way or another he either gets it back in gear or they get it back in gear or one way or another. I don't know. But yeah, the way he comes in and works, he's working like they plan on closing the store down or something. I don't know. I hope that doesn't happen because it's a good location. You know what I mean? And a lot of people come in there wanting oil change kits. The customers that come in, they've got easy stuff. They don't really have, you know, I don't know. But yeah. Well, yeah, I got the schedule like halfway figured out. Now I'm trying to figure out the rest. Um, I've been saving up, trying to get land. I want to get some land right out here, basically where I'm parked. Um, but even to do that's like $15,000. I've got about 7 grand saved up now. Um, so I'm, about halfway to that. But yeah, yeah. But anyway, in the meantime, like I said, I'm living in my car, so there's not a whole lot of expenses, not a whole lot of overhead from that. I just keep my car insurance covered in case the police ever show up. You know what I mean? Most of the time, if you're cordial with them, they're just gonna ask you to leave. That's all you gotta do is follow their lawful command and leave. That's why they might ask you for car insurance. Prove it before you take off. You know what I mean? But yeah, at that point, and then everybody's got to pay, sort of. Everybody's got to pay car insurance anyway. There's no way that you can't have a car and not pay car insurance. Um, so I feel like that's a bill that you can't avoid. You know, so I don't know, but I can tear the car insurance, and every month that I can rough it in the car, it's me saving $1,000. Because like anywhere I go to find a place to live, it's over $800 or more, and it's, I don't know, it's just fucked up. To me, it just seems absurd, man. Like, in the place that you get for $1,000 a month, it's like it's not. I don't know. You're pouring so much of your time into, for me to make over $1,000 a month. For me to have $1,000 a month apartment, I would need to make at least $2,000 a month for it to make sense in my head. You know what I mean? And then everything would still be tight. It would still be really rough every single month, and then it would be a struggle even just to like have to secure 2,000 fucking dollars every fucking month. I can't imagine. It's insane how much the prices of everything is. You know, but that's where I figure like this. If I buy the land, $15,000 down up front, and boom, the dirt is mine. Forever have a pile of dirt that's mine at least. Why do I gotta buy into the whole fucking house if I don't even have the money for it anyway? You know what I mean? That's another part of it is like they've got the price of the house in tuned with the 30-year mortgage. So the price of the house is exactly 30 years. The cost is going to be 30 years of your life. Oddly enough, that's the price. That's the price of the house. You know, even if it's a house that was built in the 50s and it was already bought and paid for twice over, and then you're the third, you're the fifth person that's buying this house now, and somehow you've paid the most for it. It's just fucked. But yeah, it's where I'm like, I'm just gonna buy fucking land. I'll just buy the dirt. There's nothing that says you can't fucking, yeah, sleep in a fucking sleeping bag on top of my own fucking pile of dirt. And then, yeah, since it's just dirt anyway, what can you do to it that's gonna make the value? What are you gonna do to it that's gonna make the value depreciate? You know what I mean? You doing land clearing is gonna make the value of the property go down? No. You know what I mean? But yeah, so I feel like if I were to put $15,000 down on a place, a piece of land that's mine, that I don't have to worry about necessarily, being chased off of, and I'm basically living on top of the 15,000 still. Living on top of the 15,000's like still in my pocket, kind of, sort of. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's a stupid plan for now. been a sub for 5 days. That's the first I'm seeing you, Mindy. I'm sorry. I mean, I do need a female moderator because I've got, right now, just to kind of balance everything out, make everything equal, and um yeah, I got like five, or no, I got three male moderators right now, but this is the first that I'm seeing your name pop up in the chat, at least that I can remember. All right, hang on. Is there somebody talking that you don't want to see their messages or something? Hang on. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, I know I need to stop smoking these things, but I don't know. They're pretty good entertainment. Is the way that I view it. No, this is just a cigar. Just these cheap ass from fucking Family Dollar, some shit. It's crazy. You can only get them at Family Dollar. But yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I just, yeah, been hanging out in the car full time. I don't really know what the difference is yet. I don't know. Still trying to learn myself. Hang on. Uh, I don't know. To be honest with you, I can't. I don't know. I'm too new to the game to. Uh, because I don't want to make you a manager mod and then have you just be blocking everybody, or blocking people that really don't deserve it. This, that, and the other. I'm sorry. I got to get to know you a little bit more. I tried to work with you a little bit here. I do need a female moderator. Just kind of bear with me for now. Like, because I'm not trying to have somebody that's going to be a moderator that's just going to troll my channel. You know what I mean? I don't know you from Eve to know. You know what I mean? I apologize. Just bear with me. But yeah, I can't. Because I've seen it happen on literally on another person's channel. Like the dude, I don't know. He literally he picks a fight, like he picks a fight with me because he didn't actually want to read what I wrote. So he went like, he took one word out of what I typed and created a whole nother tangent without reading the rest of the sentence, and then starts insulting me, and then so I wasn't insulting. I didn't insult him back. You know what I mean? I just like, I don't know. Yeah, but then the dude, yeah, he kept going and kept going and kept going, and me and the person that was, the person that was, their channel, we're both, like, dude, just drop it, just move on. It's like you didn't even understand what I actually said, and then yet, instead of going back and then like trying to interpret what I said, you then start insulting me, and you're a moderator, and then so he was like, oh, you're timed out. And I'm like, okay, cool. So, I'm like, luckily I reached out to the creator, I was like, you should go back and like, because it's live, you can go back and like rewatch, and you can see what I said and you can see what he said, because she had a bunch going on at the time. You know what I mean? But luckily, because it was all recorded, I don't know. It just pissed me off because the dude he was totally fucking power tripping. You know what I mean? And he was taking privileges. You know what I mean? He was basically disruptive to her channel. You know what I mean? I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It's too small at this point to be doing anything like that. Like I said, this is the first time I've even seen your name pop up in chat that I know of. Hell yeah, thank you. I got it on Amazon. Not too bad. I think it was like $18 too, which is like cheap for a brand new shirt nowadays. But yeah, like I do need moderators. You know what I mean? I don't know how many you can have. I'm not sure if there's a limit. What country? I'm in U.S. You can't tell by my American accent. Or are you asking the other guy, Sluggy? Yeah, I don't know. All right, Canada. What state or what? Providence. I shouldn't. I just basically insult. I didn't mean to insult. What Providence? Hey, Stacy. But yeah, I'm homeless for for now at least, and then I'm trying to rebuild like on just one income because I don't want to plan. I had just trying to build a partnership with a female. You know, plan the girl that I planned on marrying. I still kind of plan on marrying. I don't know I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. Spent 10 years trying to play house with somebody to have them throw you out. Of the house that you helped them build, you helped them create. You know, yeah, yeah, and then yeah, I don't know, barely any actual remorse. Can't even get, you know, I don't know, but yeah. Anyway, that's how I got here, so that's why I'm like I'm only gonna build, but only think on the cheaper side of things, like like I don't need to buy a $200,000 house because it's just me. You know what I mean? It's just me that's gonna have to pay for it. So I'm thinking more of like, is there a way I can find a house for like 50,000? Like even if it's a piece of shit, just I don't need it to be nice. I just want it to be slightly bug free. You know what I mean? But yeah, and then for like 50K, it doesn't exist. If you could find it, but you'd be lucky to find anything that you didn't just need to remove. Like you can find something for 50K, but it's you gotta, yeah, it's just a removal job, and then you have to drop a whole nother trailer there. But yeah, Home Depot literally sells a shit for 20K, basically. Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. It's like, but I can buy one of these houses that are flash finished by these developers, and they charge $300,000. Oh, homes from the mid 300s. And it's a particle board exterior wall house that they wrap in plastic vinyl. you know, and then it's, yeah, on like no actual land. Some of these neighborhoods I see, they have, they're on like, like for instance here it's quarter acre lots. You know what I mean? Which they get smaller than that. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like I need to thinking smaller scale. If I just buy land, do I really need a house, or do I just need a property that's mine? You know what I mean? Because I don't know. Do I don't know. Granted, there's like a safety aspect to having a house. Locks, walls, everything. Indoor plumbing. You know what I mean? But all that shit, it's all extra. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. I can just buy land for 15K. I don't know. It's just the way I'm thinking. And then nothing says I can't just continue to car camp, right? And then just car camp, but I'm on my own private property. I don't have to worry about being chased off because I have permission from the owner to be there. I'm on my own. I'm the owner of the property, and I'm literally on my own property. Where would the cops tell me I need to go? You know, I'm like, I'm at my house. I just don't. I'm at my home. I just don't have a house. Pretty much at that point. You know what I mean? And since I'm paying for it all out of my own pocket, it kind of makes sense. You know, because they don't, they got a thing in this county. I really want to live in this county. Something about it, but I don't know. The more I learn about it, the less I do at the same time. But yeah, they got a rule where you can't build a house that's smaller than 1,000 square feet. You know, because I guess because of all the small housing bullshit, and all that. You know, everybody's trying to find more affordable housing. You know what I mean? That's kind of the area I'm trying to look is for, like 4 or 500 square foot house. You know, yeah, I don't know. It's just the whole thing is fucking stupid. You got a log cut, a log caught. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I mean, people come in here and they want to ask you a question, like I'm a doctor. You know what I mean? I'm like, I can't help you with that. Shit, if I was a doctor, do you think I'd be live streaming myself smoking a cigar and drinking a fucking Polar Pop at 1 a.m.? Right, that's kind of what I want to do. I want to, if I buy the land, I bet I could bushcraft. I just bushcraft fucking build a lean-to, get one good solid tarp. Because I wouldn't need much. You know what I mean? Like fucking the Seminoles that lived in Florida before us, they lived here without houses. You know what I mean? It's like you create a way to keep the rain off you when you want the rain to be off you. You know what I mean? I don't know what all kind of trouble I would get in for that, but like I wouldn't have because it's bushcraft. You wouldn't have a foundation, wouldn't use nails, no concrete mix anywhere. You know what I mean? And then find out afterward, apologize later. But yeah, even still, I'm thinking about getting the land and then I buy a van. And the van, if you think in terms of cubic feet, it might as well be a Manhattan apartment. Like people pay $2,000-3,000 a month for like 60 square foot apartment. In New York. Like why not just buy a van every month? Like even if the van only lasts a month for $2,000, I feel like I mean $2,000. That's like fucked. And it just why? You know what I mean? All it does is help somebody else. Like you're busting your ass, breaking your back, sending yourself to the doctor, making all this money to just hand it to somebody else, and then you're gonna have to be alive either way. You know what I mean? You're gonna be alive and living somewhere anyway. You could just be living, live everywhere. I don't know how to say it. Basically just they just talk us into fucking buying this shit off of them. We're supposed to pay something that they bought and paid off. They want to sell to us at 30 years of our time. Hopefully we can work hard, maybe pay it off ahead of time. You know what I mean? And then we could screw over the next guy. It's so fucking stupid. It's just like I don't know, man. That's why I was like, just buy a piece of land. Just try to avoid breaking any laws. Fucking, is it gonna be illegal to thatch a hammock from this tree to that tree? But yeah, But I know it's a stupid plan, but that's I only got my own one income to do anything with. So like at this point, I've saved up about half the money, and I plan on saving up the other half the money. And I feel like either way, you would still need. Yeah. I've been living in my car since September, but yeah, I feel like either way, if I were to go buy a house, I would still need 10 or 20% down on the house anyway. So if it's a $200,000 house, I would need a minimum of $20,000 to put down to get the loan anyway. So I figure for $20,000, I could buy 10% of a house outright, basically, right? Or I could just buy the land that it's on for 20,000. For 20,000, I could just buy the land that it's on, minus all the extra. You know what I mean? And then yeah, the way the law is written, you can camp on your own private property for up to 90 days. So that's like in a tent. I can have a tent pitched on my land for 90 days at a time. I can't make a permanent thing out of it. But but yeah, no, I don't live in Canada. But anyway, yeah, I could. There's nothing that says you can't park your car on your land and then get in the back seat and take a nap. There's no law that says you can't park a car on your land and crawl in the back seat. And I had to say that twice. But anyway, I don't know why I had to say that twice. But yeah, it was just fucking stupid. But yeah, then they make us buy all the extra off of them at whatever they decide today's price, whatever makes sense for today's world. And it's shit that they stole. It's like, so they stole it from somebody else and they're gonna sell it to us for half of our life. You know, why does anybody do that? It's like it's because it's all a fucking dick measuring contest. Like we're all just fucking trying to like, you know what I mean? We're all just trying to outdo each other for some fucking reason. Like even when you have a house, you want a bigger house, or you want a a nicer house or a house in another neighborhood, and like you already have the need fulfilled. You already have the need of shelter fulfilled, but then you still want better shelter. You know what I mean? I don't know why that is. Like me in this car, technically I have shelter, but I want a van. Like if I'm gonna be living in a car, I want a van, even if it's a minivan. Like I don't have to get a full size power wagon. You know what I mean? Yeah, just this much more room. More room is nice. Because I can get a rice cooker. I could open up the where the back hatch opens on a van. Like open that up and then have like a front porch area right off the trunk of my car. You know what I mean? I don't know. But another van, like, to move it anywhere, it's going to cost so much more than the car. And then I won't want to be Uber driving from a van. So I'll plan on keeping the car and running it as long as it will go. Um, you know what I mean? Because I can keep Ubering and I push Uber hard enough, I can easily make $1,000 a month on Uber. Um, if I push it well, if I push it hard enough, I can make 500 a week easily. I can just set a goal for 100 a day and go out and hit it, and boom, don't come back till I make 100, and boom, 500 a week, no problem. Um, and then that's on top of the actual job that I work, the retail bullshit. Um, but yeah, it's keep the car rather than just use it as a trade in towards the van and then only get like $1,000 value for the car. You know what I mean? Might as well keep the car if I get three more. I get 3 more months out of the car after buying the van. It was worth it. But, yeah, but you gotta remember, you gotta invite the devil in too. Like the devil doesn't do anything without your permission first. He might tempt you. I mean, yeah, part of that is, yeah, he might tempt you, but You know, the devil has no control over you until you grant him. Like, you know, you go to church and like the people are all talking tongues, you know, people speaking in tongues and rolling in the aisles and shit. I don't know. But yeah, man, it's been a pretty good day. Queso. I don't know, man. But yeah, I'm just hanging out, man. I'm trying to. I figured, you know, I gotta, you know, be a couple people that have insomnia. Might want to hang out, chill, talk for a minute. Those are my kind of people. You know what I mean? Yeah, but at the same, like, I get praying. I understand what you're saying there. But at the same time, God doesn't want us to just sit on our knees and beg for Him to fix everything. You know what I mean? He wants to see us do for ourselves. You know what I mean? So basically, like, part of praying, you're just bitching. You know what I mean? You got to think about it that way. Like, I get praying. Pray that she gets better. You know, pray that she gets through this. You know, pray that he's not sick. You know, but you know, part you get to a point. You know, you're kind of like just bitching to God to fix things. You know, like just fix things for yourself as best as you can. You know what I mean? Because he's not gonna. I don't know how to put that. You know what I mean? Not trying to say that he's not going to. I didn't. You know, I didn't mean. I didn't finish that on the right syllable. You know what I mean? But yeah, you know, like we're here. We have free will. He wants us to love him out of our own free will. You know what I mean? That's the kind of reason we have free will. Um, you know, and the other side of it, right? If evolution is true, right? Think about this one. This is far out, right? If evolution is true on that timeline of a chimpanzee turning into a human, or you know, the timeline that they have for evolution, right? The way that this, you know, the monkey standing up, right? Where are mosquitoes? Think about it. I don't know. Just something to think about. But yeah, I don't think, yeah, God didn't put us here for us to have for us to be here to bitch at him through prayer. That's basically it. I don't know. How you doing, man? I had like 4 viewers for a minute, and then somebody wanted to talk about prayer or something like that, and everybody just hopped out. But I made some pretty good points there too. I was like, you know, I was like, I don't think God just wants us to just be like just bitching to him all the time about, oh, can you fix this? Can you do that? You know, I think he put us here so that we could solve problems. You know what I mean? He put us here so we could bitch at him about our problems. And then I was like, you know, like if you think about on the other side of things, if we did evolve, oh my God, people just keep fucking leaving. I can't even get to the point. do that. No, there's no way I did that. Anyway, we're hanging out, man. We're having a good time. Yeah, it's about 1:30. This probably ain't going nowhere. Like a lot of weird people popping in the chat this time of night too, man. Like a cool person that's like fucking 5 or 10 are just coming in here to do some stupid fucking bullshit. It's like yeah. Anyway, how you doing, man? Welcome, welcome. Just hanging out, enjoying a cigar, car camping right now, trying not to get the cops called. Yep. Is it just me, or is it starting to get hot? I think it's starting to get hot. I mean, it ought to. It's fucking April, but yeah. How you doing, man? Welcome, welcome. Yeah, I'm just out here car camping, trying not to get the cops called. Okay, see you later. That's the main thing, though. Just trying to keep to yourself, stay safe. You know, I mean, all you can do. You know, stay safe out there. Everybody always says, stay safe out there. I'm like, yeah, knowing that I can just pitch a tent in your yard and be 100 times safer. Thank you for telling me to be safe everywhere else. But no, like honestly, I feel like you gotta pray. You know, you gotta pray at least every now and then, whether you're Christian or not, man. Everybody prays for something to happen. You know, something more, something better, something different. Pray for change. Pray the president gets shot. You know, certain shit. But yeah, man, I'm out here. Yeah, fucking, where the fuck did Timu ever come from? You know what I mean? Like y'all, I don't know if y'all are old enough. You remember fucking Wish? You ever Wish? It was a website, Wish.com, or it was an app, the Wish app. And it had like USB chargers for $1, fucking all kinds of shit you wouldn't even imagine. It was like $1. It's fucking crazy. But that's the only thing is like it's the currency exchange. So like people can buy stuff for you know 20 for $1. Because the currency, different currency in a different country. You buy 20 things, for $1, and then sell it to people in the U.S. for $1 each, and then fucking make 19 bucks profit. Buy another 20 items for $1, and then do it all over again. And that's the world we're stuck under. Fucking Where you go? People want $1. Give me $1. Where you at? I need some of that currency that's got a serial killer slave owner on it. But yeah, it's been about an hour. I think I already hit the peak as far as this is going. I'm just stretching this out for no fucking reason at this point. That'd be nice if I could do the live streams and then actually be able to post the live stream to the channel as like a video too. You know what I mean? I don't know. But I get too personal in the live streams too. I really do. I be talking about shit that you can't really put in a long format video. How you doing, man? I'm chilling out. Yeah, I'm getting through car camping right now. Hanging out, waiting. I don't think, the cops were coming, they would have came. Okay, cool. See you later, buddy. Get the fuck out. We do get some people, and I'm sitting here with a bowl. I'm sitting here smoking. And then just sitting there, just smoke weed every day. Just smoke weed every day. So I smoke weed, 3 or 5 weeds every day. Cause I smoke weed. I smoke weed. Everybody call me gay, but I smoke weed. Yeah, I smoke weed, 3 or 5 weeds every day. How you doing, man? 3 or 5 different weeds every day. Cause I smoke weed. 3 or 5 different weeds every day. Hey, hey. Got this. It's called T Haze. This other shit's called Cranberry Z. Don't know what the Z is for. Maybe it's because Dragon Ball Z. Uh, I'm gonna find you, Frieza. And when I find you, I'm gonna kill you, Frieza. Could you imagine, man? They create a show like Dragon Ball Z, but you couldn't think of a better name for Frieza than King Cold and Cooler. I mean, granted, being that his name is Frieza, it doesn't make sense to be anything else at this point. But it's still kind of weird. That's what he lands on. Why not hot, cold, and lukewarm? stop coughing like that, it's gonna get the cops called. For sure. But man, I gotta get up early tomorrow. Oh man, I don't know how I'm gonna get there. He wants me there at like 9, 10 o'clock in the morning and shit. I'm like, oh god. Can I show up at 2? Can I show up at 2 and then maybe I can work a little bit harder to kind of make up for the missed hours? Just wait for me to get there, and we'll get it done faster. Anyway, how you doing, man? Yeah, this is a long, hard road, and I know I'm gonna have to walk hard, but I will walk hard. I don't know if you know what movie that's from. God damn. Woo, man, this shit sucks. Beat the shit out of your lungs. This shit like you just got punched in the throat or something. Like fuck. Fuck. It was a pretty good day. I just spent the whole day on break. Basically, yeah, spent the whole day on break and still made like $55 today too. Not too bad, man. Oh man, I'm getting pretty close to bedtime though. I'll probably at least smoke one more cigarette with you since you're hanging out with me. Woo. I know the cops probably coming with all that fucking coffee I just did. And this will help to soothe my throat a little bit. Damn, man, that shit. Whew. Alright, well, I guess that's it then. How about it then? How about it then? That's all you say? That's all you say is how about it then? Yeah. How about it then? Works every time. How you doing, man? How you doing? I'm getting real close to bedtime here. I don't know. It's probably the signal. It keeps blocking. It keeps knocking you out because the signal. I apologize. But yeah, no, the signal's a little bit better on this street than it is on the other street. Kind of weird. Because the other street's like maybe 25 meters away, and then you go 25 meters over and I'm on another street, and then the cell phone signal's just straight shit. Over here, it's all right. It's not the best, but it's not, not just straight tripping all the whole, whole fucking, yeah. That, go over one street, can't hang on. Yeah, I quit a couple times, man. But it's like my entertainment right now. Like, I'm living in the car and a lot of free time. Not well, yeah, just a lot. I don't know. It's a cure for boredom more than anything else. Not that I'm really trying to smoke these. They're just for $2. $2 a pack. So it's like 10 cents a cigar. You know, and then it gives me because I'm in a parked car a lot. You know what I mean? So I gotta. What am I doing? If a car somebody sees me or a cop pulls up on me, I'm just sitting in a parked car smoking a cigarette. You know what I mean? Versus if I wasn't smoking the cigarette, um, who knows what they're gonna, what are you doing back here? You know what I mean? But yeah, because I've had it happen where cops, cops will show up and like, oh, you're just hanging out, smoking cigars and watching YouTube, and I'm like, yeah, pretty much. You know what I mean? But if I wasn't smoking the cigar, it kind of it makes you blend in more. You know what I mean? I don't know, in a way. And then, like I said, ultimately gives me something to do. Being an Uber driver and dealing with traffic, and then some of these trips, fucking 12 miles one way, you're doing it for like $4 sometimes, but I don't know. I like some of the, you got to do those orders because it all adds up at the end of the day. Um, you know what I mean? But yeah, if it's dead for an hour and the only thing you got was the $4 12 mile, you're gonna have to just go ahead and do the $4 12 mile. Better than not making anything, And you're kind of upside down on the gas mileage with that. But I don't know. Like I said, it adds in, and then when you look back and you say like, oh, I've done, you know, 12 runs today, and oh, boom, I made $100. Cool, I don't know. But yeah, just a lot of traffic. I moved, kind of started delivering out here in the smaller town because here in the small town, there's like 5 traffic lights, and then it's all on one road. The whole city is just one road that goes north and south, and everything's like off of that road, like all the neighborhoods and whatever. But like any of the restaurants, they're all right on this road within like 2 miles. Every single restaurant in the city, and then there's only whatever restaurant it happens to be, 5 traffic lights, and as soon as I get through those, whether I'm going north or south, sometimes it's 2 traffic lights this way or it's 3 traffic lights that way, and then it's just 55-mile-an-hour highway driving, you know. Versus the other city, it's like a fucking traffic light every fucking 50 yards, you know. And it's just, and then you're just sitting there light after light, and they got the shit timed where it's like, it's timed to waste more fuel. I feel like they did it on purpose because you'll get going, and as soon as you get going, boom, next light's red. And have to lose all that momentum every little bit, you just pushed your car up to 50, 60 miles an hour, and then right at it, boom, red light, boom, slow all the way back down to zero. But yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Where are we hanging out, man? Appreciate you stopping in and talking for a minute, saying hello, asking some questions, hang out. But yeah, it's only stressful because I'm kind of like behind. You know what I mean? If I didn't feel like I was so far behind, I wouldn't feel stressed. You know what I mean? But I let myself get so far behind to the point where it's like, it's stress on me, stress on my family, stress on my ex. Even though we're not together, she's still worried about me. Worried where I'm at. You know, I don't know, to some extent. I mean, granted, she's kind of, it feels like she's completely fucking moved on at the same time, but I don't know. But it's like the majority of life is just trying to manage stress in the first place. But yeah, trying to but maybe 5, 6 more months. That's what I'm gonna do. It's just that's all I can do. Just keep moving. I want to get back out of this credit card debt. It'd be the best thing for me as far as stress. Just have zero on both credit cards would be nice, and then just have some, get some money in my actual bank account so that I don't have to fucking use the credit cards. I'm trying to like pay off the credit cards and then also build up a stack of like $1,000 like in my bank account. So like basically, because I have $1,000 spending limit on the card. So basically, what I'm going to do is take that credit, that future, that purchasing power, and I'm going to pull it to the present rather than having it be in the future and have an interest rate on it. You know what I mean? I'm just going to pull my purchasing power to present day, basically. And then when I need to buy something out of that thousand, pay it back up to the thousand. You know, and it's easier said than done. Like I said, it's going to take months to get there. But I mean, I could take a day off from pushing. Not, it's not like I'm gonna set myself back from taking a day off. You know what I mean? But I can't be taking like weeks at a time and all kinds of shit like that. That's not hard though. Because like I said, living and hanging out in the car, I get bored anyway. Like I get bored, and just from being in the car all the time, I might as well log into Uber. And if I can if I help somebody get some lunch and they want to give me $10, it's not a bad deal. You know, but anyway, what about you? How you doing? How you been tonight? What brings you here? I'll try my best to listen. I'll try even harder to read. Okay, cool. I'll see y'all later. Bye. Get the fuck on out. Copyright bullshit. But yeah, sorry. I'm just trying to. If somebody does pop in, I'll talk. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm just kind of running out of energy for the day. Not quite ready to go to bed yet either. Um, Trying to see if running into anybody else got like some sort of insomnia. You know what I mean? That they're my kind of people. All right, cool. See you later. Bye. It's got to be so much easier to have tits. Trying to do this with tits would probably be so much fucking easier. How you doing? camera on this phone fucking sucks. It's all straight bullshit. Alright, yeah, I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna crawl in the back. Nobody's jumping in and wanting to really hang out anyway. Anyway, I appreciate the people that did show up. I don't know, it's going to no ear anyway. But anyway, thank you.